Okay, I read this kind of stuff, and I mean, look, our kids before we pulled and started homeschooling our boys, and when I say we, I mean my wife. I do not ever want to take credit away from my wife for the excellence that she's done with regards to taking that upon herself when we decided that homeschooling was the better option for, our boys. As they came up, okay? And my daughter, obviously, with an IEP, she still attends school because I feel like we can advocate for her in a way that we just can't with our neurotypically developing boys. We just can't. And I'm one of these people. If anybody hangs out on this page long enough, guys, you know that I don't like government, and schools are government, and I have absolutely no say in what is shoved into their brains by the public school system. Whereas I do have a voice in what is shoved in my daughter's brain. So at that point, I differentiate that, and I think that in our current day and age, I am not going to sit there and expose my children to somebody else's ideology and somebody else's mistakes and viewpoint and perspective. That's just me. Okay, I'm not a big STEM fan. Why? Because I'm an attorney. I'm not real good at math and science. If I was, I'd be in another field. And I am one of these people that I believe that a classical education is absolutely paramount in the continuation of a peaceful civil society. All right, I don't believe in steering everybody toward math and science, and then erasing arts and erasing history and erasing these things or greatly diminishing them. I don't think it serves the interest in this country, because if you don't know your rights and if you don't know your history, then it's very easy for people in power to take advantage of you because you're ignorant now. See, and just because you're educated doesn't make you ignorant. Because if you haven't been taught these things and haven't been taught them correctly, then you're just as susceptible as anybody else of being ignorant of the real history and your real legitimate human rights. And as a civil rights attorney, I feel very passionately about that, and I really do believe that we have cranked out 2 generations now, millennials especially, and Gen Z, that they have been victimized by this obsession with STEM, which has diminished their understanding of history, and which is why so many are more susceptible to, let's say, the ideas of Marxism, and they're completely ignorant of history in the 20th century and what Marxism has done to humanity across the world when put into action. And that's our fault. That's our fault. We got to own it. We chose to adopt this obsession. Now, with that being said, let's get to this question. Your daughter will be going to the 5th grade, and we will have to choose resource or electives, and that's common. Guys, I'm sorry about that. It means that she will have a resource for extra special education help, like small group and homework, but she will miss fun electives like music, art, etc. And I don't agree with, and we have this argument all the time in our special education cases, and I think it's discriminatory. It hasn't been challenged yet with the State Department of Education, because when pressed, the school systems tend to back off, which means if you don't have an opportunity to challenge it, then the policies remain the same, because you end up getting what you want. And so therefore you don't have the opportunity to, like I said, get an end result or a decision at the people above making these choices. But I do not agree with double and triple dosing children with reading and math with regards to special education services, and then denying them access to electives like their peers, strictly on the basis that they have an IEP and they have a disability. You see how that's discriminatory? So that's discriminatory on its face. Well, your child has an IEP and your child has requirements for special education, so therefore we're going to deny them electives that they find interesting and fun and that are highly reinforcing. You just need to push back in that area, and you need to use the wording that I'm explaining to you as your justification, that it is discriminatory on its face. That neurotypicals get to do whatever they would, to choose their classes, it gets to be fun, but your child, because your child has a disability, you take the fun away. And I think I know what school system you're in, and that school system loves to take the fun away. Loves to take the fun away. I can't tell you how much they enjoy taking the fun away. So let's get to this PE teacher. So you've heard, okay, another thing, she has health concerns that limits PE. I was told today that the PE teacher does not care and will push them. And I can tell you right now, we've had multiple situations. And the reason I brought up my own kids is that before we pulled them, most of our issues were with PE teachers. Most of them. And, I tell you what, that's where I draw the freaking line. I don't understand, but it is this disallowance. I don't understand why, maybe because some PE teachers have a stronger personality than the other people in the school, and therefore they come across as bullies. But that doesn't make them right. And it doesn't mean that they're not beholden to these rules. And it doesn't mean that they're not required to accommodate. And it doesn't mean that they would not trigger a complaint against the district in order to resolve this. They would. It happens all the time. I have multiple cases involving PE teachers that are trying to sit there and bulldog and bully the situation as though, well, if I just push them, it's like in the 80s when I was being raised, instead of, it's like a salt pill. If you hurt yourself in football, take a salt pill, shut up. It just is one of those things to where, you expect human beings to mature. But unfortunately, in some professions, that being one of them, there's other professions, I'm not going to sit there and mention them, police, that they have this mindset that I need to sit there and be theatrical and be this, what I think police are, or what I think a PE teacher is. And, it's just this personification of this fiction that they either see on TV or they see other people do. And it's just unnecessary. But, the rules apply to them too. And quite frankly, what you need to do is, if your IEP is not shored up enough, if it's not strong enough with regards to the accommodations your child requires with regards to PE, you need to call another meeting right before school starts to make sure you insert that in there, because that's going to be your force and your hammer to sit there and protect your child. If your IEP is not strong enough in that area, that's where I recommend that you enforce, you insert that in there and make it very clear as to what the limitations are for your child. And if the principal and if the special education department permits it, boom, there you go. And then you'll end up finding out who has the true power. Okay? And it's not the PE teacher. I just wish somebody would just be mature in this situation and stop helping these people, being PE teachers, and then, other people, I'm not going to name police, that end up perpetuating these ideas as this is machismo, I can do whatever I want. You can't. I can't do what I want. You can't either. It's just that you have a gun and you can sit there and have a whistle and you can sit there and force people to do things. Doesn't make you right. Doesn't make you right. Okay, but it does require parents to sort of stand up and say, hey, we're not going to, whatever problem you have, go get some Chardonnay and shut up. But this is what's going to happen for my kid. All right? Okay. That's how you handle it. I know it sounds mean, but it's not. It's not.